we speak so often about the commandments and how they're fulfilled and all of their details and so on. We spoke many times about the Mitzvah of Mezuzah, the parchment scroll that we put on the doors of our home, on the right side as we enter. But people are not clear about what it is exactly, what it looks like, how it's made. So I came here to a sofer's office. This is the scribe who makes the mezuzahs, writes the mezuzahs, checks the mezuzahs, repairs the mezuzahs, and sells the mezuzahs. So if you want to see what the real mezuzah looks like, because on the outside you just see a plastic casing or metal casing, here's what a mezuzah looks like, a very large mezuzah. If you can see how perfectly formed the letters are. So this is a rather large size mezuzah, quite expensive, because this is all handmade, of course, and calligraphied. There are over 1,000 laws that have to be followed in order for this mezuzah to be kosher. Every letter has its requirements. It has to have a certain number of lines. The parchment has to be prepared and made a certain way. Over 1,000 details in the laws. And this is part of what Moshe learned on the mountain. Because all it was written is, you shall affix them to the doors of and gates of your home. Well, affix what? Now, the mezuzah comes in many sizes. Some are as small as that, compared to that. But either way, they have to be written meticulously. The smaller they are, the harder it is to make sure that each letter, every letter, is perfect. And the lines are perfect, and so on and so forth. The mezuzah contains the chapter in the Torah where we are commanded to write the words of Torah on parchment scrolls and affix them to the doors of the house. It is the portion of the Torah where it says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one, and you shall love God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, and you should perform these mitzvahs when you walk and travel out of the home, when you're sitting at home, teach it to your children, bind it for a sign on your arm and for a frontlet between your eyes, and affix them to the doors of your home and your gates." The mezuzah offers two things, identity and protection. When you see a mezuzah on a door, you know it's a Jewish home. Somewhat like the blood that they smeared on their doorposts before they left Egypt, identifying their home as a Jewish home. That was the Paschal lamb's blood. They didn't have the mezuzahs back then. So it identifies the home as a Jewish home. It puts God at the door so that before you enter, or as you enter, you're aware that God is present. You put it on every door, except the bathroom, even the garage door. You put it on every door because in every room of your home, God is present. So as you walk in through the door, you recognize that you're entering a godly place, space. The custom is to touch the mezuzah as you walk by, and then to kiss the hand that touched it, or just to touch it and recognize, acknowledge its presence. The second function is protection. God, as it were, stands at our door and protects us. So even when you leave the home, you are under God's protection, not only like everything else is under God's protection, But there's an additional protection brought about by this sign on the doorpost. So it's a constant ongoing mitzvah. You're observing the mitzvah even while you sleep, because once you nail the mezuzah to your door, the mitzvah is ongoing. Now, every 2 years, the mezuzah should be checked. Particularly the mezuzah on the outer door, which is exposed to the weather, because it's vulnerable. Letters can dry and crack. The weather can do some damage to it, just age itself. And so checking the mezuzah is also a Jewish custom to make sure that the mezuzahs are in perfect condition. Many times when people would come to the Rebbe and tell the Rebbe of some physical health problem or home problem, the Rebbe's suggestion was, have your mezuzahs checked. Just checking brings about an improvement. And if something turns out to be imperfect in the mezuzah and you fix it, that certainly increases the protection, the blessing, and the identity of the godliness of that space. We put a mezuzah on our workplace too. If you have an office building or an office or a shop, you put a mezuzah there too. That's how the mezuzah is made. Take another look. The large mezuzah. Notice that 2 of the letters are very large, bigger than the rest. And those are from the word Shema and the word Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. The word one has a large letter at the end, the D sound, Echad. If you go through the entire Torah, you will find that certain letters have to be written large, certain letters have to be written regular, and certain letters have to be written small. So there is a large letter. If you go through the entire Torah, you will find all 22 letters in large and all 22 letters in miniature, in small. The rest are all regular. All of this is meaningful. All of this is holy, sacred, the way God dictated it should be written. So, 3,334 years ago, God instructed Moshe, this is how you write a mezuzah. And that's what we've been doing for 3,334 years. That's the mitzvah of the mezuzah. Of course, a Torah scroll is written with the same lettering. It's much bigger, of course, and we won't open it just for show. But I can show you a scroll of Esther. On Purim, we read the scroll of Esther from a parchment scroll, somewhat like a Torah. Here's what it looks like, in large. This is a work of art. The parchment is lined. You can't see the lines, they're engraved. So it guides the writing of the letters so that they're all straight lined. And every letter is precisely and carefully written and preserved. Take a good look. This is the Holy Writ. If you enjoyed this conversation or this topic, and you're looking for more information, or you want to hear it again from another angle, there is a way to do that. And that is in this book. It's all there. Order it from Amazon. You can read it, reread it, and share it. We have a Sunday night program for VIPs that you might be interested in. It's informal, it's questions and answers, it's conversation. It's really relaxed, it's really pleasant, enjoyable, informative, and kind of community-like. It's a Sunday night program. There's a Wednesday morning program for the VIPs, and there's a Wednesday night program. All of it just conversation, casual, laid back, unscripted. So join us. Take a look. Click the link below and see which of the three suits you best, and join us for some enjoyable conversation.